what do you do when you find out a secret about your spouse? You know, how are you going to handle it? How are you going to open up? You know, how's the one partner going to share if they're feeling comfortable or not comfortable, and then how's the other partner going to receive it? How should you receive that? You know, when you find out a secret.
Yeah, yeah. So it's dependent on, and it's all about creating I think a judgment free zone, and I think that's why as couples, at any time, at all times, we have to be careful that we're not so judgmental, because that spouse, they will see that moment as, okay, I got this secret, I can't let them know about this, and because the atmosphere has been created that it's not a judgment free. But what if it now? There's a difference if you find out a secret. Well, is it the same reaction if one is voluntarily told and one is found out?
Yeah. Is it the same?
Yeah.
I think that would be a different reaction. Because if you voluntarily tell your spouse about a secret, then that should, whether the spouse gets upset or not, that should at least open up an avenue for you all to talk about it.
Okay.
And you're saying, hey, you know, this is what happened, whether good or bad. This is what happened, and I want to share this with you, and I want to talk about it. And they should feel okay. But there's some now, just based on some movies.
Here we go. Okay.
Based on movies that I've seen, where the spouse, have willingly shared some things. The other spouse still wasn't too pleased about it. So
right.
And they still got upset because
there's gonna be some hurt and betrayal.
Yeah. So it's different. I don't know the right word for it. It could go either way.
So I think we ought to deal with it like any other hurt and betrayal or grieving. You go past the anger, right? And you eventually mail out, hey, Pastor Joe. So can I give you an example?
Yes.
So you remember when I got shingles, right? And my doctor, I ain't gonna call her name, but she was an excellent doctor. She said, Mr. Nobles, she said, cause shingles is a attack on your immune system.
Okay.
Chicken pox, She said, have you had an HIV test? And so y'all, until that test came back, I was wondering, because prior to us meeting, I wasn't saved. And there was some, let's say, some improprieties that I'm ashamed of, right? So, and I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? I said, I was thinking, what if I do have HIV because of some actions and some indiscretions and some not so good behaviors prior to us meeting? And for a whole 2 weeks, y'all, I was wondering, how am I going to tell my wife that I got HIV because of something? Same thing with Matthew Johnson. Same thing, prior. So let me ask you this. Just how would, if I had to come back to tell you that I had HIV, and this was like 8 years into our marriage. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What would have been the reaction? There would have been fear.
It would have been fear, but if you're trying to tell me a secret that happened before, if it happened before our marriage, the right thing to do was to stay in the marriage and to support you,
right?
Because it didn't happen while we were married,
right?
And so I know that that I love you, so I know that I would not have left because things happen, and you were actually coming to me to tell me your secret, and so I should be able to receive that and just help support you.
Right.
It's just like saying, hey, I have well, it's not like saying, but I have cancer, and I have, the doctor said I have 3 months left to live.
Okay.
So that's your secret. That's what you wanted to come and tell me. And you were thinking about, you had been keeping it all this time.
Right.
And so if you share that with me, I shouldn't just leave you and say, well, I'm out of here. Let me go ahead and
clear out the money. You're saying support.
Support your spouse if they come and tell you some, a secret that happened prior to your marriage, because you don't know what the reason is why they kept that secret. It had to be some type of reason. Don't even get mad at them if they, give you some reason why they didn't share it. Mm-hmm. It was a reason, and but they're telling you now. Mm-hmm. So be happy and feel good about the fact that they trust you even more and now.
It's a safe place.
And you have created a safe place for them to share. Mm-hmm. Because I would not tell you, whether it was a safe place before or not, I wasn't comfortable. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't want to tell you if I was, like I said earlier, if I was raped or molested, or I wouldn't want to tell you any of those things until I know that I'm comfortable.
Oh, wow.
You can provide a safe place in a safe space, but I have to make sure that I'm comfortable.
The person that has the secret.
Right. The person that has the secret has to make sure that they are comfortable telling you that, whether you have provided that safe space
right.
or not.
So what you're saying is, once if somebody volunteers some information and you ought to know as a spouse that, okay, this took some energy, some effort to even come and reveal this. And y'all, when it happens, sometimes it is because that spouse, that it's a cry for help. Because the secret, but there's some things that get out. There's some things that people don't know. We're not talking about things you don't know. We're talking about things that you purposely know that you have in the closet and you've been keeping it a secret from your spouse. And it don't have to be, y'all watch this, it don't have to be the major things. What if a spouse, we're budgeting, watch this, y'all. We got a tight budget and we're saying we ain't gonna buy nothing over $100.
Right.
And you go out, you buy some $100, and all of a sudden, this bag come out, and you done had it for 9 months. So then it's the same reaction. Versus something being found out, something you don't know. We're talking about things that I know that it's a secret, that I'm afraid for whatever reason, a shame. Fear, your reaction, embarrassment, to tell you, it must number one, the atmosphere must be safe. And then I think you brought out the fact that there must be support.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So support. So the spouse that gets the secret or find it out, then it must be support, because after all, you're with this person and there's nobody perfect.
Right. That's true.
And then understanding, like you say, hey, Sharon.
Hey. She bring out them bags.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, we all do.
That's what I'm talking about. But see, that's a secret. And yet this is, yeah.
we already
saw it.
Pastor John, we already saw
it. We already saw it, at least. So now you shouldn't file me. It just, whatever the reason may be. And sometimes we create those things, those moments that we don't, and sometimes it can be, sometimes it can be not aware that we're creating judgment zones. And sometimes it's small things. And then now your spouse do have to, like reactions, because we're still reading each other. We're still growing, right? And so sometimes if you react a certain way, and I'm saying, oh no, I ain't gonna tell her this, right? Because she gonna blow her lid again.
Yeah. Well, I've done that. I've kept some things. Just some little things, like Pastor John, just a few things, You go do a little shopping, and if I come home with a little bag and I really don't want him to know, and he's watching television, I open the door and go straight to the room. I go straight to the room and put it in the closet, and then but on this live we're talking about not sneaking. We're talking about sharing the secret.
The secret.
Sharing
what
the
if
secret.
What if there's a secret?
Share. What if? How would you handle? how do you handle when your spouse, when you find out a secret?
You find out a
When
secret,
you
or
find out,
yes,
or you discover a secret from your spouse. How do you handle that? And so what we were saying was, if it's something that is not a deal breaker,
right? That's good.
then
Uh-huh.
you should show support.
Right.
Now, I do think that you probably should discuss those deal breakers before you get married.
Right.
But a lot of times you don't even know what to discuss. You don't know what things to bring up. But I think just that word, you should say, hey, what is a deal breaker in this marriage? You know, for whatever reason, you should ask. You should ask your spouse, okay, what is the deal breaker? Now, you should know. Your spouse may be saying, well, you should know what the deal breakers.
Right.
It shouldn't be.
Don't assume.
No running around, no cheating, no overspending the budget. You know, don't come up pregnant. Just it doesn't even matter. I mean, whatever. Well, it does matter, but whatever the deal breakers are, you should discuss those things. But you will also think that some of the things that I just mentioned is understood if you get married.
Yeah,
you do.
Yeah.
You do feel like, okay, some stuff should be understood. So why discuss a deal breaker?
Yeah.
So then there you go. If you still don't discuss anything or bring it up, then where are you at? You know.
Yeah. So communication is still the key. But and then the things that there's two, and we always say there's two areas of control: things you have control of and things you don't. And so anything before the relationship, they say if all of a sudden after 28 years of being married, somebody come up and say, hey, this is your what? This is your baby. This is your child. That's 18 years old. That's 20 years old. Well, I didn't know that.
Right.
And so, and I need to let you know that I didn't know that. And even in our premarital counseling, is there any children that you may have out there? Well, no, there's no children. And then now, if you find out that I've been communicating with the child's mother, that's a whole nother deal. Yeah. Now there's what's the word for it? That is willful. That's deceit. And so now
I have a right to get upset.
Right. And I shouldn't feel bad if you get upset, because that's being deceptive. So there's a difference between being deceptive. You know, that's a whole nother willfully deceit. And so you still have to, number one, there need to be a place of confession and forgiveness. You know, I'm sorry. And it may not seem like I'm sorry, but at that time, there's a reason why I'm being deceitful. Either I'm ashamed of it, I think it's going to hurt you, I'm trying to protect your feelings. But even with that, you know, there needs to be confession, confess it all, you know, how long, and what allow that spouse to ask. I can't get mad at you if you ask any and all questions.
Right.
Well, how long? Because that's part of the work. That's part of restoring.
Yeah.
You know, because
And you have to give your spouse time to heal. Give your spouse time to heal.
Pastor Joe said, wait a minute, if you've been married 28 years and the child is 18, that's a whole issue, right? Yes, that's
an issue. That's an issue. And you have
Joe's the only one that caught the mess.
You have a right to hit the door if you want to, you know, because if you leave your spouse and when they share that, you're not.
What is the baby's 30?
I think that's a trust issue because you can say, "Well, all this time I thought I could trust you, and you've been sneaking behind my back doing, you know, A, B, and C."
Right.
So, I mean, I could be justified in leaving because I'll be leaving because of lack of trust in the marriage. I'm like, well, you did this. What else have you been doing?